Coming up on Tech News Today, the great LimeWire hacker hunt. LimeWire and the RIAA are hot on the trail. Also, virtual real estate hits it big, and new plans for cheap Cox Communications TV. It's all coming up.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Friday, November 19th, 2010. Tech News Today is brought to you by Ford and the new Ford Fiesta. With an EPA estimated 40 highway miles per gallon, no other compact car is more fuel efficient, and fuel economy is just for starters. The 2011 Ford Fiesta, Ford invites you to drive one at a dealer near you. And by the AARP Auto Insurance Program from the Hartford. Discover great rates, benefits, and service specifically designed for AARP members at aarp.thehartford.com/podcast. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm Jason Howell.
And this is the show where we bring you the essential news for the weekend. It's Beverage Friday.
Thank you.
It's actually Beer Friday. We all got beers today.
Yeah.
Red Tail Ale from the Mendocino Brewing Company.
Beers.
Well, yes.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But if you'd like to join in at home, it doesn't have to be a beer. It could be a ginger beer or a root beer or even a cream soda.
A nice glass of milk.
Yeah. It could be a nice glass of milk. Actually.
When's the last time any of you ever just had a glass of milk? Like with dinner?
Not with dinner, but I have had a glass of milk with chocolate chip cookies like maybe a month ago.
Okay.
And that was pretty delicious, I got to say.
Well, it's hard
I
to.
can't
Soy
remember.
milk doesn't work in that.
I mean, other than
capacity.
like hot chocolate or something like that, just a glass of milk. It's been a while. I don't think I can remember last time.
It's like maybe when I was 10, I had my last glass of
Oh,
milk.
it's been more recent than that for me, but it has been quite a while.
Our bones must be brittle.
Mm-hmm. Well, I take calcium supplements.
Oh, okay.
Jason.
Well, that helped.
I have adamantium in my bones. So there is more revelations about the Dell lawsuit that was settled a while back. Ars Technica passing along that the New York Times went through hundreds of documents related to a lawsuit between Advanced Internet Technologies and Dell and found that Dell actually knew a lot more about the computer problems they were sued over than they let on. This lawsuit goes back to 2007, and it's pretty bad looking for Dell. There were faulty capacitors, and Dell knew they were faulty, but kept selling the computers anyway, and resisted pulling the machines, and they kept receiving the capacitors they knew that were faulty. Other companies like HP and Apple were getting the same capacitors and scrambling to try to pull the stuff off the market. Dell decided to help customers who had bought more than 50 computers and who had at least 5% of those systems fail. Other customers fell into what they called the fix-on-fail category, meaning they'd have to report the issue to Dell after the computers had broken.
But then the problem is that when reporting the issue to Dell, at that point, Dell might say, listen, this is a known issue. You know, how many machines are we talking about? How many more problems? Let's fix this before you have to call us back. Instead, they were telling their customer service folks to say, not familiar.
Let me look into that for you.
Yeah,
they did
strange.
They did a study in 2004. Study in 2004 concluded a minimum of 12% of the machines had problems. The same study, the study included the XS270 Optiplex machine and the GX270. They eventually raised that expectation to 45%, with the possibility of failure rate reaching as high as 97%, and then told their salespeople, knowing that potentially they could have a 97% fail rate, don't let customers know about that. Just don't bring it up.
That does look bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that, you know, they conducted a study that initially they wanted to believe maybe it was just a 12% issue, right? Only 12% of folks might have this issue, and that's something where you go, yeah, we'll fix it if somebody complains about it.
Right.
But a 97% risk of failure is really high.
Yeah, they said
it's kind of unbelievable that they wouldn't come out and say, yeah, we know something's wrong.
Here's a quote from an internal Dell presentation. Don't bring this to customers' attention proactively. Emphasize uncertainty.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
That kind of hurts right there.
In the question-answer sheet to employees, they had the question, why has Dell not taken a more proactive approach to rectifying the issue? Answer, our approach to this issue delivers the best customer experience because it minimizes disruption. I don't think it did
No.
minimize disruption.
No, I think it emphasized confusion.
Yeah, Marco
and
Dell, an
frustration.
employee with Choice Hotels, wrote in an email to Dell support staff, "When will Dell actually take care of the problem and fix our system failures?" After going round and round and around with them. So Dell has said they have changed their policies. This will never happen again. That, you know, the suit is settled and this is all in the past.
Right. Well, and that's true. That is the case, but it doesn't mean that, I mean, who's to say that Dell wouldn't act like this again?
It does make you wonder. You know, this is the kind of thing that spirals out of control because somebody doesn't want to deal.
Right.
It's really a pain in the ass to deal with something like that. To get the bureaucratic movement necessary to get a recall started, to actually go through the trouble of going out and contacting people. I understand the impulse to want it to go away.
Yeah, but when you're
Doesn't
dealing
make
with 97%, guaranteed you're going to have to deal with that eventually.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Even if it was only 47%, you're going to have to deal with it. There is a manhunt on for a hacker called Meta Pirate and his, quote, horde of piratical monkeys who have created what they call LimeWire Pirate Edition. Now, a little backstory here. LimeWire had lost a lawsuit to the RIAA. They have been ordered by the court to stop providing their software that allows for P2P file sharing, to actually block it and block the service that used it. However, shortly after that was enacted by LimeWire, LimeWire Pirate Edition came out from an anonymous developer calling him or herself Meta Pirate, launched at metapirate.webs.com. Press reports indicate that Meta Pirate is either formerly or presently a LimeWire employee, says the record label to the court, and wants the court to crack down on LimeWire for the actions of the pirate.
You know, Ars Technica apparently talked to MetaPirate and got some direct quotes and are calling it a him. So we have to assume that maybe somewhere in their conversation it was revealed that it's a male rather than a female. MetaPirate says, "Ha ha ha! Good luck finding me. I'm behind 7 proxies."
Although they have taken down the MetaPirate website already, you can still find MetaPirate if you look around in the likely locations. Exactly. MetaPirate was asked directly whether he had ever worked for LimeWire. The response was a terse, "I am an agent provocateur for the RIAA, and you can quote me on that." In other words, trying to sound like he works for the RIAA in order to, you know, provoke this sort of response. Then continued, "Seriously, though, which press reports are they talking about? The court appears to require a lower standard of proof than Wikipedia." And then says, "Pirate Edition are not associated in any way with LimeWire LLC."
But if you were, Jason pointed this out before the show, if you were associated with LimeWire, you would still say that.
Absolutely. The thing
Oh,
here
yeah,
is,
I work for LimeWire.
Why? Is that weird?
LimeWire has open source code, so anybody can go create a LimeWire Pirate Edition. The idea that you would jump to the conclusion that obviously because there is a version of LimeWire out there, it must be from a former LimeWire employee, and therefore LimeWire should be put into receivership, which is what the IRA wants. They want someone to take over running the company, the court-ordered receivership. That's ridiculous. Anybody could do this.
Yeah, I mean, it's open source code.
They say they want a list of all current and former employees of the defendant, that'd be LimeWire, who have had possession or knowledge of the private key used to sign the LimeWire SimPP file in the past year, and a list of all known LimeWire software developers, programmers, or other employees who would have been capable of excising the features that were removed from the beta before it was redistributed as Pirate Edition.
I have a feeling that if MetaPirate had worked for LimeWire or still does, MetaPirate would find a way not to be on either of those lists.
Also, LimeWire LLC is doing everything it can to stop this person because they're the ones who obtained the court order to shut down the MetaPirate website. Because LimeWire is like, no, this has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
Just because they're using the name, I mean, I can use the name. I can call this Tech News LimeWire. That doesn't mean I work for LimeWire.
Right.
It'd also be a really stupid name for the show.
Well, and they don't want anything to, I mean, they don't want to be associated with this.
Yeah.
It's just bad news for them.
On to some more speculation, this time about the iPod. Wedge Partners analyst Brian Blair has... Sorry?
Sorry, iPad, not iPod.
Oh, right. Did I say pod?
Yeah, there was a pod in there.
Well, he was saying it like he was from London.
Right.
Oh, as Tom
because
is wont to do.
I
That's
was
right.
looking at this picture of the Hobbit on All Things D. Wedge Partners analyst Brian Blair was checking the Qualcomm channel and found that it looks like the Qualcomm multi-mode CDMA GSM chips have been ramping up. Recent checks suggest Apple is going to be ratcheting down the production of the 3G iPad over the next 2 months and ramping up a new World iPad that is powered by Qualcomm and will run on both GSM and CDMA-based networks. So a World iPad. That means Verizon would get the iPad. They're already selling the iPad with a MiFi. They wouldn't have to do that anymore. Blair also said his checks suggest iPad would have a front-facing camera and be thinner and a unibody.
I love everything about this. What can I say?
It all seems to make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything too startling in this, do you?
No, but I hadn't heard any of the iPad will be thinner, and one would think if thinner then lighter also. But I welcome that.
Also, if we're seeing it at TJ Maxx now at a $100 discount, obviously they're ramping down the production of the
Nothing
iPad. They're
against
starting to
TJ
sell
Maxx,
it. Yeah.
but Apple's not going to just
You get
give
the Max
you
for the
some
minimum.
and it's never the same place twice.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the iPad is near the end of its cycle. We got it announced last January. It sold in March of this year. So this is about right. This rumor has all the earmarks of a real thing.
iPad 2, CDMA, GSM.
Yeah.
Music to my ears.
Nothing, frankly, that surprising.
Right.
This episode of TWiT TNT is brought to you by Ford. The copy says that. The copy says TWiT.
You're cut
And
off.
TNT is on TWiT. You probably remember when Leo went out to the Dearborn plant in July. Is it pronounced Rouge plant? Or Roog?
I don't know.
I don't know, since none of the emails correcting me on how I pronounced it jokingly as Rogue could agree on how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Say Rouge.
I think it is pronounced Rouge. Ford cars and trucks have been made there for decades, and they are constantly trying to innovate. They're constantly trying to add ways to reduce energy costs, keep the plant cooler during the summer, and that commitment is translated to the cars as well. Don't forget the EcoBoost V6 engine, which we talk about, a powerful 365 horsepower engine that's standard in the Taurus Show, or as one angry owner said, SHO. Never call it Show. So either way, it's the Taurus, and it delivers a lot of power, the power of a V8. Does it with direct fuel injection, makes it more fuel efficient. You've also heard about the 2011 Ford Fiesta, the most fuel-efficient compact car on the road today. EPA estimated 40 highway miles per gallon. Ford's been an innovator from the assembly line days back in the 1900s to today. EcoBoost engine in the Taurus SHO, the 2011 Fiesta, and of course, voice-activated Ford Sync, the in-car communications and connectivity system. We invite you to stop by a dealer and drive a new Taurus or Ford Fiesta this week. See what innovations at Ford are all about. Google looks like it might be buying Groupon. The discount. I don't use Groupon. Have you ever used it?
I have used Groupon, so I know how it works, but I'm not a regular user of Groupon, and that's why it blew my mind when the number of, somewhere upwards above the 3 billion that Yahoo had already offered Groupon last year, which Groupon turned down because it frankly wasn't enough.
Well, now, I had that same kind of reaction when Yahoo tried to buy Facebook.
Yeah.
Because and what was it? It was like a 1 billion.
Yeah, it was like about $1 billion.
And Facebook said no.
And Facebook said no.
We're
And I was
gonna do our own
like,
thing.
really? It
It's
turned
like-
out $1 billion? Turns out Facebook made the right choice.
Right.
Maybe Groupon was making the right choice.
Well, so you go, okay, so Yahoo, obviously Groupon has already turned down big offers, and they say, well, if Google was even going to be in the running here, they'd have to be somewhere above Yahoo's, the top of Yahoo's offer. 3 billion. It's like, what? That's crazy. However, it turns out that Groupon is pocketing like 50 million in profits per month.
A month.
Per month. I had no idea.
That's some cold hard cash.
I knew there were some Groupon fans. Some of my friends, just the other day, friends on Twitter were saying, hey, American Apparel, $25 off or something. Get the Groupon. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. But I didn't realize it was so widespread.
It's a brilliant service in the same way that when eBay first came out, everybody was kind of tricked in their mind at thinking they were winning things when they were actually still buying things.
Right.
It's Groupon has that same type of like mind trick where you pay in advance this low amount. Then like months later when you go to use the coupon, you're like, whoa, I get $40 off this meal. It's like my meal is free, but it's not. You paid $20 a month ago or months ago.
Right.
My wife is a huge fan. She uses Groupon all the time. And
what's
it's almost as addicting as eBay.
Yeah. I mean, it's apparently they're doing quite well. You know what was also really interesting? I found out that speaking of Facebook, Groupon employs more people than Facebook does. It's like, well, what are they all doing? Well,
Facebook
I
has,
guess
like,
because they have to have
hunting
people
down those deals,
all of those regional deals with
Making
the
those
cookie
connections,
company
yep.
and the sandwich maker and the card shop. But that kind of blew my mind.
Also, Nordstrom Rack and Oprah brought down Groupon for a couple hours today by recommending them.
Poor Groupon.
Right on the day when everyone's paying attention to them.
Yeah, exactly.
And Groupon is in a patent battle with MobGob, which probably the reason if you're MobGob, you bring this patent battle is so that someone actually talks about the fact that you exist.
What now?
It is one of the high flyers, says paid content in the daily deal sites. They've basically sued each other. One started it, the other counterattacked. That would be another good thing for Groupon if the Google power came in to help settle a patent dispute.
Now, I realize that we've all had to get used to very silly company names.
Yes.
But Groupon sounds like coupon, and
Sure.
I don't know what MobGob is supposed to mean.
That means you...
Mob grab?
Yes. It means there wasn't
Gobble.
another domain we could get.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just making sure.
A security researcher who specializes in online privacy has been speaking to several publications like CNET and Wired about how the watch list is impeding him from doing business. He goes by the name Moxie Marlinspike. He did an interview with CNET and also talked with Wired. He is constantly being pulled aside for extra screening. He has had his cell phones taken away with no... He's not going to get them back, and they were prototypes that he was running prototype software on. He's had his laptop taken away and given back. He says now he can't trust it. He doesn't know if there was anything weird installed on it. And many other security researchers don't experience this, and they suspect that it's because he happened to be in the address book of Jacob Appelbaum, who is a WikiLeaks volunteer, and everyone even mildly associated with WikiLeaks is under the gun right now.
And apparently other folks who were in Jacob Appelbaum's address book have also been contacted and or, made to step aside at security screenings. That said, Moxie Marlinspike, which is the best name I've heard in a while.
Not his actual name.
Not his actual name.
But should be.
And I would like to know how he was addressed in Appelbaum's
I thought
address
about that
book,
too, yeah.
Because I assume that's not what's on his passport. He said, he said, I have no association with WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
I don't work. I'm not a volunteer. I don't work for them.
He happens to have an industry collegial relationship with a man who happened to volunteer for WikiLeaks. He was approached by a U.S. consulate at the Frankfurt airport and interrogated about where he had been. He'd been at a black hat security show in Abu Dhabi. The man made a phone call to Washington, D.C. and then let him go. He was pulled off a plane at JFK. That he was on his way to the Dominican Republic. They were preparing to shut the door. The TSA agent ran on and pulled him off. Two agents patted him down before allowing him to get back on the plane.
This is after he went through a security checkpoint already, by
correct.
the way. It's not like they forgot or anything.
Yeah. Returning from that trip yesterday, Marlinspike said he was met by Customs and Border Control with a photo of him in hand. They took him to a detention area, took his computer and phones away before returning them and letting him go nearly 5 hours later. And he says it's deterring him from wanting to travel and makes it harder for him to conduct his business because he needs to travel to meet with people.
And he also said now he's paranoid that there's, a keylogger on his system. They're taking his laptop. They're going into a room. He doesn't know what they're doing with it, and they're giving it back to him. It's like he doesn't want to use his equipment. He's had to change his phone. He can't go anywhere without a tremendous hassle. He's missing connections. It's like the worst travel nightmare possible.
Yeah.
For being in someone's address book. I mean, if we're to assume that he's everything he says is true, I feel sorry for him.
So just be careful what you do. Be careful what kind of data that you're associated with. Even people giving you book gifts could show up against you. If I buy the Anarchist Cookbook digital edition for Sarah in the new Amazon gift system, it could look bad for her.
But that was your choice, not mine.
I know,
you
but
gifted that
you
Kindle
have
book
it.
to me.
And that is a new thing you can do now. Amazon has given its customers the capability to buy a digital Kindle book and give it to someone, even if they don't have a Kindle. All you need is an email address.
Right.
That's the worst gift ever. Hey, I bought you a Kindle book. I don't have a Kindle.
But I
well.
don't have a Kindle, but I could read it on my Kindle app on my
that's
iPad.
true. That's actually why Amazon's doing it that way, is they're saying, hey, you get it for somebody. If they have a laptop, they can download the Kindle software. If they have a smartphone, they can get the Kindle app.
I have conflicting feelings about the Kindle gifting because on one hand, it is the ultimate easiest thing ever to give a gift. Oh, Tom, here, I'll give you the Anna's cookbook. I don't have to go anywhere. I have to go to a
I know
bookstore.
you've been talking about it a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah. But at the same time, it's like, it reminds me of when I was a kid, my dad would give me a book or like an LP that I didn't want, that he was really hoping I'd get into. When I really wanted Flashdance, but he gave me Buffalo Springfield.
Right, because that was better for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I'm stuck with it. Although you can, they do say that if for whatever reason you don't like your Kindle book or you have the same one, you can exchange it for a different one of the same value.
Well, that's cool. That makes
Yeah.
it a little more like getting a real book. Because with books, you can always, if they're new anyway, you can take them back to the store and exchange them.
I just feel like when we're talking about Amazon and everyone's so familiar with Amazon gift cards already, it's like maybe just the gift card so I can choose the book I want.
Gift card's always the safest thing, right? In case if you think you're going to mess up.
But it's the least personal.
But if you buy the right book, you look a lot better than if you bought a gift
because
card.
the thought, you put a lot of thought
You're
into
like,
what I
how
would
did
want.
you know I wanted the girl with the dragon tattoo?
I just
Or
did.
the Anarchist Cookbook, or whatever. All right, before we get to this next story, I just want to make a disclaimer. The company who does cable servicing in the United States named Cox means that a lot of people want to make funny jokes about headlines.
Yes.
So it's just a warning. We're going to say the name of this company, Cox Communications, quite a bit in this story. So get your sniggering
How do you think
out
Courtney
now.
Cox feels?
Seriously.
It's a toughie.
It's hard for me not to say how she feels about her last name. Cox Communications is becoming the first U.S. cable company to offer mobile phone service itself. They're doing their own plans. They're going to start by using the Sprint network to carry their calls, but then they are going to roll out their own system, and they're calling the mobile plans the Unbelievably Fair plan.
I mean, the name alone gets my attention. Can you imagine? Let's see what Cox has on offer. Ha ha ha. Unbelievably fair. That sounds good. What's that all about?
It gives you money back for unused minutes and ties in free Cox TV, internet, or landline upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of saying, hey, you know, you've got 1,000 minutes, you only use 300, you know, we'll refund you the $25 that it would have been or whatever. I mean, that sounds great. I don't know how many folks are interested in wireless phone and landline bundles at this point. I mean, I know some people are, but I don't know if the majority of their market is.
They'll sell the monthly mobile service contract starting at $40. Customers receive free mobile-to-mobile calling between cell phones and landline phones. They've got some Android phones in there, the HTC Desire, the Motorola Milestone, the LG Axis. They'll expand and refine the handset selection as they go along, of course. They have 3 regions that they operate in. Devices will be available to purchase at newly opened Cox Solution stores in all 3 regions where the service is available. Yep. So I like that we have another competitor in the marketplace. I like this idea of making plans more competitive of like, hey, if you don't use your minutes, you get money back. That's really cool. Very Discover Financial of them. The thing is, who uses minutes anymore? This is not, the data is where we need the competition.
Absolutely.
Calling minutes, nobody uses them anymore. So it's easy to do.
If I could get a no-minute plan with my AT&T service, I would.
Yeah.
And I just would
Just
say,
emergency
I'd say, I'm
call.
sorry, I can't answer. I don't actually have any minutes.
Yeah.
Save me a lot of missed calls.
Quick break to thank our other sponsor for today's show, the AARP Auto Insurance Program from the Hartford. For our audience members over the age 50, the AARP Auto Insurance Program from the Hartford can save you $384 on auto insurance. More than 3 million AARP members who are already enjoying the benefits of this program include lifetime renewability, lifetime repair guarantee, and a 6-point claim guarantee. Customers describe the claims experience as fast, easy, and outstanding. Check them out today and get an 8-minute quote. Go to aarp.thehartford.com/podcast. That's aarp.thehartford.com/podcast. Go check them out. See if you can save yourself some money. On to the news fuse. Poor kitty. The Combating Online Infringement and Counterfeits Act, also known by me as the Government and Entertainment Industry Get the Power to Censor Any Website It Wants Act, looks dead in the water. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon said late Thursday that he would seek to block the bill, and individual senators can place holds on legislation. There are only a few working days left in the current congressional session, so that means it would have to be reintroduced next session.
Google has received one more in a series of slaps on the wrist from various world governments. The UK got Google to sign an agreement to improve its data handling following the Information Commissioner's Office ruling that it committed a significant breach of the Data Protection Act, or DPA, during the mapping in the past 2 years. The ICO will also audit Google's compliance with the DPA in August 2011.
Remember the user programmable embedded SIM rumored to be under development for Apple's iPhone? It would let you just kind of change the SIM on the fly without pulling it out. An unnamed executive at a European carrier told the Financial Times that Apple would risk a war if carriers decided to stop subsidizing the iPhone on contract. That's what they would do if they do this programmable SIM crap. That war could widen fast, though, as embedded SIMs have received official GSM Association backing and could be pretty commonplace in phones by 2012.
Shocking. Some U.S. representatives want the internet kill switch moved from the White House to Congress.
Stop killing the internet.
A new bill unveiled Wednesday would give the Department of Homeland Security the authority to enforce federal cybersecurity standards on private companies. The Homeland Security Cyber and Physical Infrastructure Protection Act of 2010 would cover utilities, communications providers, and financial institutions.
GameStop executives said on a financial conference call that sales of Microsoft's Kinect and Sony PlayStation's Move were beginning to look like the Wii back when it was first released. In other words, you eventually won't be able to get your hands on one unless you buy it used off Craigslist or eBay or something. GameStop's just happy to have people walking into the store, I think.
Time Warner Cable unveiled a cheap TV package called TV Essentials that excludes major cable networks that I like ESPN, Comedy Central, TNT, Fox News, MSNBC, and more. Well, I like some of those more than others. The offering begins Monday on a test basis in New York City. It will cost $39.95 per month, and the Cleveland area where it will cost $29.95 per month. You know, you can get a package with similar features called the antenna.
Yeah, it's free, too.
Yeah.
Much better price. Adobe on Wednesday released Reader X, the secret brother of Speed Reader, who only shows up to advise his... Oh, wait, no, that's Racer X. Reader X is the Adobe reader that includes a sandbox designed to protect users from PDF attacks. The sandbox is called Protected Mode. It may not stop every attack, but they think hopefully it will prevent attackers from writing files or installing malware.
Psst, psst. Hey, buddy.
Yeah?
You want a white iPhone?
Yeah.
I got one right here.
Really? What?
It's in China.
How much?
Just point your browser towards China. A number of unofficial resellers throughout China have managed to get themselves quite a stockpile of the elusive white iPhone 4 and are selling them quite openly on the internet. The box has a label warning. It's only meant for internal company use. It's not for sale, but it is for sale, and prices are starting at 5,500 won, which is about 828 American dollars, and rise to nearly 8,000 won. Apparently, they fell off a truck outside Foxconn.
Fell off a truck outside Foxconn. Full of... Never mind. No jokes about Foxconn. That's a sad place.
No, yeah.
A virtual asteroid run as the Entropia Club has been sold when the gamer who bought it in the virtual world paid $100,000 for it in 2005. Everybody thought he was crazy. He's now sold it for $635,000.
To whom?
I have no idea. Someone even crazier than him. It's a new world record for the sale of a virtual object. John Jacobs had been... of Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Yeah, possibly.
That's my name, too.
John Jacobs had been operating the asteroid as a club called Never Die within the virtual reality role-playing platform Entropia. It had been generating a yearly profit of around 125,000 pounds. So that's about $200,000.
You know, I give Leo a lot of grief for his Wii rule obsession, But this is a whole nother realm of virtual money.
Yeah, it was
Well,
interesting.
real money, virtual objects.
Right. I guess in this game, which it's been around for like almost 10 years, and I feel like I've never heard of it, even though I probably
It's
have.
not
It just
massively
doesn't
popular. It's not like
stick up
Warcraft
there.
or something where it just, constantly is talked about.
I read another article with this guy, and basically his reasoning behind it is that, years ago, things like the internet or just buying into these technologies well in advance is like a sign of foresight that eventually it's going to catch up with his kind of.
It'll become a
sight of the
real
future.
asteroid.
And he will have been like an early adopter,
Yeah.
essentially.
I guess
And this
so.
thing that 20 years from now everybody's going to have this is kind of his mentality.
Well, in March of 2009, Entropia Universe was granted a license to operate as a bank, so they actually
real
make it easier to do these kinds of
conversion.
transactions.
Well, kudos to him for making a little coin off of that sale.
I guess
Yeah.
that was foresight after all.
Definitely. On to the calendar.
AirTran, Delta, and Virgin America are going to offer free GoGo in-flight Wi-Fi on every domestic flight, brought to you by Google, starting Saturday, November 20th, which is tomorrow.
Woot! Yeah, I think it lasts through, what,
The end of the
January
year,
2nd
yeah.
or something.
Yeah, it's definitely through New Year's. We want to wish a very happy birthday to a little operating system you may have heard of called Windows. Windows turns 25 also Saturday, November 20th.
Yeah, I was just reading in Popular Computing about all the windowing operating systems. It turns out that
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, the Microsoft one has designed Windows with a structure that developers can choose to use or ignore. But it's not out yet, so we don't have a price.
Yeah.
But
what are some of its competitors?
It must have been in stealth mode for like 25 years or something.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Vision is only $95. You can get it now. It's got bitmap graphics just like Windows.
Oh, cool.
It also has a consistent command structure with Windows. Windows only has with specially adapted programs. So my bet's on Vision. Yeah, or maybe concurrent DOS.
You should buy some stock. But
And
you
Vision,
can't
yeah.
because you're a journalist.
Exactly.
We've got some Portal 2 news, and it's good. Portal 2 announces the shortest Valve delay ever in the history of Valve.
Hooray.
It's now coming April 18th, 2011. There's actually a press release.
Oh, yeah. Do you want me to read that?
Yeah, because
Valve always has hilarious press releases. So,
they're making fun of themselves.
yeah,
kinda.
they poke fun at themselves. Valve today announced that Portal 2, the sequel to the groundbreaking title that won over 30 Game of the Year awards despite missing its original ship date, will now be available the week of April 18th, 2011. This 2-month slip not only marks the shortest delay in Valve's proud tradition of delays, it represents the approaching convergence of Valve time and real time. Though this convergence spells doom for humanity, it will not affect the new Portal 2 release date.
One day, Valve time and real time will be compatible.
Oh, and then it's all over.
Reverse compatible,
Yeah,
even.
we're all done then. Also, don't forget to help pick the best moments of TWiT. All the shows, as in particular for us, TNT. Go to twit.tv/bestof and follow the directions there. Find your favorite moments. Give us the time code so we can include them in our end-of-year show.
Yeah, and I'll just give you a little bit of a teaser because we're starting to work on the episodes for the end of the year. Another one that we're working on is a chance for you guys to come on and talk with the hosts of TNT. Don't know really what we're going to name it yet, but anyway.
I offered some of my suggestions. I don't know if you've been in your email lately.
No, we have plenty of suggestions. We got to pick one before we go further. But anyways, more details to follow next week, where you guys can send us an email, let us know you'd be interested in coming on the show.
It's going to be fun.
On to the email to TNT@twit.tv.
First email comes from Pat. TNT crew, while not really tech news, the TSA full body feel up is getting a lot of press among the geek press. I think it's getting a lot of press in general. Here's a New York Times story with a different basis: politics and economics. Anyway, he goes on to say, for me, this is the money quote: more stringent security procedures, in essence, function as a tax upon air travel and produce a corresponding deadweight loss. Teleconferences are often a poor substitute for person-to-person interaction, and when people are reluctant to travel, some business deals don't get done that otherwise would have. Pat says, while I understand GoToMeeting is a good service, it helps pay the bills, I've not found that teleconferencing can close a deal. For that, you need that eyeball to eyeball and a firm handshake. After it's closed, GoToMeeting can save a ton of money, time, and aggravation of the TSE tax.
And that's what Marlon Spike was saying is, with this interference, with his ability to board and be sure he's going to be able to take his devices without interference, is not able to travel or not willing to travel as often, which affects his ability to close deals.
They want him to speak at a Black Hat conference in Germany or wherever he was.
And
I mean, they
like,
don't want him to
maybe I won't.
Skype in.
And then I don't get paid for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. I mean, that's why there are so many business travelers, because people want to have face-to-face meetings.
And if this does start to affect business travelers, this will it will be modified.
Yep,
you know that. There's no doubt. I mean, look at the pilots union. The TSA is already saying they're going to change the system for pilots.
Right.
Because
pilots
the pilots
don't get
union
the
said we're not going through the backscatter. So if you have enough clout, you can get it changed.
Can we start like a citizens union?
Well, that's the idea of the opt-out day on the day before Thanksgiving, is if enough citizens were to opt out, then that would force a change.
Yeah. Thanks for the email, Pat.
We also got a cool email here from someone who didn't put their name in the body, and then I forgot to pull it out of their email address, so I apologize. But they are in Ghana and an avid listener of TNT and Buzz Out Loud. On episode 121, when I heard the email from South Africa about carriers over here pushing BlackBerries, I decided to chip in. Here in Ghana, all 4 major telcos have a BlackBerry service, and people who use it range from students to business people, and of course, technophiles like myself. Here are the 3 reasons why they use BlackBerries. Status. Unlike in the U.S., having a BlackBerry makes you look cool because it separates you from the pool of feature phone users, and the carriers actually market very aggressively. Device, price, and durability. A good number of people either buy secondhand, high-end BlackBerries like the Bold or new cheaper models like the Curve, and those usually cost a lot less than an iPhone. BlackBerry Messenger is a killer feature for most people, especially since there are a lot of Nigerians here. They are our neighbors. We have a U.S.-Canada thing going on with them. And communicating with people back in Nigeria is easy and cheaper with BlackBerry Messenger than voice calls or text messages. Is it RIM being aggressive? I doubt it, because RIM comes over for the launch parties and then nothing. We still don't officially have BlackBerry App World in Ghana and a lot of African countries. Love the thoughtful discussions and the crazy stuff, too. Thank you for writing in. We have to make a Nigerian prince scam joke here about BlackBerry Messenger, or the emailer loses a bet. Well, I think we have to make the joke first.
Yeah, I know. That implies a joke, I guess.
All those Nigerians in Ghana have to use their BlackBerry Messenger, or they wouldn't be able to get money out of the country. It's not a very good joke.
I don't even get it.
No. I was trying to go for a microfinance joke.
It's interesting that
good
Nigeria and Ghana have a U.S.-Canada relationship.
Yeah.
Is Ghana Canada? Because they're north?
Because Nigeria is more populous and
it's bigger.
Yeah. Ghana is the hat of Nigeria.
And Ghana is known for hockey and back bacon.
Right.
Maple leaves.
Yeah, I get a lot of Ghana maple syrup.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
It's the best.
It's the way to go. Ghanaian. And they have their Mounties in Ghana.
Ghanaian whiskey.
The guys that ride the horses around.
The Gaunties.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us on our Friday show. That's it for us. Twit.tv/TNT is our website. You can email us TNT@twit.tv or give us a call, 260-TNT-SHOW. We'll see you Monday. Beer passed.
Oh, what, huh? Oh, we're doing a show. All right, you guys ready? You guys ready to start?